What's going on YouTube? Bryce Builds It All, your favorite A&P IA and Part 147 instructor, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how much money you can make, or the money to be made, I should say, by renting out your airplane. I'll give you my thoughts on it. I'm going to let you know right now they're quite a bit negative, but I don't want to discourage anyone, so stick around. Okay, before I launch too hard into it, I do want to say that this aircraft behind me is not my aircraft. This is a client's aircraft that I maintain for them. But it is a rental airplane that can be rented for about $145 an hour dry. The students return it with a full tank of gas, and you're thinking, well, that sounds like good money. And why am I making this video? Well, with the advent, or I should say the increase of people using websites like Turo to rent their cars, or Airbnbs to rent their homes, or trailer rentals like Neighbor's Trailer, something I myself have dabbled with, to rent trailers, people have cornered the market. There's even motorcycle rental websites. People have cornered the market on renting all kinds of different things in a main, or by, how do I say that? People have cornered the market renting all kinds of different things as a means to help replace their income in these very hard and trying times that is 2025. So some people are resorting to renting their aircraft, although it's nowhere near as many as people renting their cars, their motorcycles, or their homes. So let me address my first and number one concern with this. Like I said, this is a rental aircraft, and the number one problem that you're going to run into when you try to rent out your airplane is not so much availability, it's how often it rents and how many hours it actually flies. Now, in your mind, you're probably thinking to yourself, and we'll use round numbers here, we'll call it $150 an hour to rent out your airplane. So in your mind, you may be thinking, well, $150 an hour times 1,000 hours, that's $150,000 by renting out my $80,000 airplane or $100,000 airplane. That's good money. That could replace the cost of even owning the airplane. But the truth is, people are not going to fly it all that often. I rebuilt this airplane 2 years ago on this channel, and cut to that for a second. In that 2 years, I rebuilt the airplane in August of 2023. It is now October of 2025. The airplane has flown about 550 hours, which, if you can do math, 550 times 150, or I should say, sorry, 1,000 times 150 is 150,000. So 550 hours should be about $75,000 that this aircraft is made. But that's over the course of 2 years. And the hangar rent for this aircraft is about $500 a month. So already just in hangar rental, you've paid about $6,000 each year just to have a place to put it. So you're already up to $12,000 that you can take off that $75,000 price tag. And then there's all the things that the renters have broke. One of the most interesting was the fuel tanks. They managed to somehow snap off the baffles down inside the fuel tanks, so we had to get 2 serviceable fuel tanks for it to the tune of $2,400 each, totaling to about $4,800. The left fuel tank is back out. You can see the straps there. The left fuel tank is back out because it started leaking, even though it was serviceable and sold with an 8130 tag, but that's besides the point. And that's going to be another $1,000 to fix between labor and the 8130 and taking it to a repair station and all that, but you get the idea. So it's got about $6,000 in fuel tanks in it just in the last 6 months. I put a $12,000 EDM 900 engine monitor in it so that we can keep a better eye on things after it started rented out. I haven't even addressed the monthly insurance cost on the aircraft because I honestly don't know what it is, but I know that he has insurance on it because he's putting students in it, and all of the other little things that students have broken. It's needed tires, it's needed brakes, it's needed wheel bearings, it's needed things and things and things and things. In that time, it's also had about 4 100-hour inspections to the tune of about $2,200 on the cheapest side for the 100 hours. If it needs parts, I think the most expensive 100-hour we did on it was close to $3,000 because it needed tires, it needed brakes, it needed a bunch of stuff, which it's actually on its second set of tires in 500 hours. Students be slamming on the brakes pretty hard if you get what I'm saying. So very quickly, with all of this cost, that $75,000 that this airplane has made in 2 years has been eaten up by just routine maintenance. Now, if you say to yourself, well, Bryce, maybe if you weren't filming and you were working on the aircraft, then it wouldn't be costing so much money. But I am not billing the owner for any of this. I'm already finished with the 100-hour inspection, and all I need to do really is put the seats back in it, but I wanted to leave those out while I made the video. So the owner's not getting charged for me making this video. This is a me thing. But anyways, all of that cost adds up very, very quickly, which leads me to my third point. There are periods of time where this aircraft flies its butt off. It flies over and over and over, and they will put 50 to 60 hours on it in 1 month. And I'm out here doing an oil change on it. And then there are periods of time where it will sit for a month and a half on end without anybody flying it. And during that time, you still have to pay for the insurance, you still have to pay for the hangar, you still have to pay for anything that might be going wrong on it. There was even once where it flew like 30 hours pretty consistently over the course of about 2 months, and then it sat for almost 3 months, and only like 5 more hours got put on it in those 3 months, which leads me to my last and final point, which is your client base. Who is going to rent this airplane from you? Where are you going to find people that are going to rent it? This aircraft was formerly in a private flight school. The guy who owned it had a CFI, and he was doing flight training in it quite successfully. So it had a group of probably, 5 or 10 clients of people that regularly rented it and regularly flew it, even after getting their pilot's license in it. But if you are not a CFI, if you are just a guy, finding people who want to rent your airplane, or most likely finding a CFI who's going to use your airplane for flight training, can be somewhat difficult. And then also want to add, once you start using it for flight training, once you start renting the aircraft out and making revenue with it, it's now considered a revenue flight, and you must do for hire 100-hour inspections and everything else that comes with that. So understand that it's not just going to be an annual inspection once a year anymore. Every time it flies 100 hours, it's going to go down and it's going to get an inspection. Anyway, there's my thoughts on it. Time has passed. The seats are back in it. But anyways, there's my incoherent rambling on it. I may have ranted there for a little bit, just how I feel about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, anybody who wants to rent their airplane out and is willing to pay me to keep it airworthy for them, obviously, that's your prerogative, and I'm not going to say no to that, because you're offering to pay me to fix the airplane and keep it airworthy for you and whatever. But I'm just saying, there's nowhere near as much money to be made as people think there is to be made. That's really my only purpose in saying all of this. I think there are really good airplanes for it if you're wanting to rent it out, something like a Piper Warrior 160, or a later model like a 172L with a 160 horsepower conversion on it, or something like that. Those are both really good airplanes if you're going to rent out. This one being an 0300 early 172H, it's 66, parts are a little harder to get for it, and that kind of thing. But you want to research all of that. If you have an airplane that fits those criteria and you want to rent it out and it's just sitting there anyways and you're just trying to mitigate costs, then yeah, it might be something that might interest you. But understand, at the end of 2,000 hours, you're going to have to put an engine on it, and engines are not cheap. So do your research, get your quotes, figure out how much insurance would be, all that kind of stuff before you just jump headfirst into renting your airplane out, and then understand you're going to have to find a client base for it. So with all that said, just a reminder, we do have merchandise down below if you want to grab yourself a Bryce Built It All shirt. If you're curious to watch more videos, make sure you leave us a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, go build something and be easy.